Ladies and gentlemen, I have two viewers, Timbo and Maxecution, of roughly the starting MMR. When you start playing your 1500 MMR, and if you win more than you lose, then your MMR goes up. They're roughly both just over 1500, which is no easy feat. When I coached Age of Empires legend Viper, he initially dropped some hundreds of points and then went up as he got better and better. And had he put in more energy, I'm sure he would have risen pretty damn high. But Warcraft 3 is a pretty competitive game. I have two viewers here, and I've got them to play a best-of-1 show match against each other. But what they don't know is that I'm gonna give the winner $30 of prize money. They think they're just playing for honor, and they jumped at the opportunity to play on stream, but I'm gonna give them some prize money. It's a best-of-1, we're playing on Northern Isles. Let's go. Maybe we can even do a winner's interview between them as well. So, we have Timbo here in the bottom left of the map, playing as the Orc, opening with 5 peons in gold, a barracks, an altar for a standard hero, don't know which, plus grunt opener. We'll see if they follow up with a second burrow and or an opening shop or not, and whether it's the Farseer or the Blade. Starting in the top right position with the light blue color, maybe I should have coordinated colors a little bit better. They're both playing a version of blue on Northern Isles, which is blue. Is that their competitive streak, or is it just happening to be their favorite color? I don't know. Maybe they're hoping to blend in more with the background surroundings, like a ninja on the minimap. We have a double ziggurat opener here, with Maxecution going for an Acolyte Scout, playing as the Undead, opening with a Death Knight, and Ghoul opening. Coming up with his Ziggurat, his second Ziggurat at 15 population, a classical build order. Ghoul opener is these days the standard opener for Undead, as it allows for fast creeping, a nice lumber economy, and the ability to respond to early tier 1 or tier 2 expansions better than, for instance, a Fiend opener. It also feels less harassable as you constantly swap in and out ghouls. And I think the biggest advantage of all is the fact that ghouls are swapped into creeping and then out as they take damage, removing the need to coil them, as an idle ghoul is a working ghoul, whereas an idle fiend that is hurt, that is sent back, is wasted resource. So the ghouls allow you to keep up creeping while saving all your coils for creeping acceleration, like we see now, where he coiled a creep, and to save up the mana for nuking enemy units and heroes later. The goal for Undead usually is to have a medium speed tech with this opening on 22, 24 population maybe, or even 20 if you want to have it be even sharper. And he's got some safety built in as well with the Nerubian, doesn't like getting harassed. And the goal is to get DK level 3 and then pick up a Naga or a Lich second and start nuking enemy units. Orc openers are kind of split between Blade Master grunts and Farseer headhunters. So I'm quite surprised to see a Blade Master headhunter opening here from Timbo. With a heavy attribution towards tier 1. We're now at game time 3:20 and he still hasn't started his tech. Orcs can start their tech anywhere from 1 minute 40 to a 2:25 about being average, and 3:15 being the average in 2005, with the 3:35 that we're seeing here being one of the latest openings of teching that I've ever seen. Because of that, Orc will need to get lots of value, and he's doing a Headhunter Scout to see if there's a Sacrificial Skull, which might be pointing towards an early expansion. He wants to make sure he's not up against the Cryptlord Expo. Now sees the DK, sees the ghouls, runs for his life, and Undead does not pursue, and he decides to be a little bit annoying. We do a bit of trolling. So basically, when you have a very heavy investment in early tier 1 and you've delayed your tech, you need to get more value out of your tier 1. You're looking to get a level 3 hero generally with that kind of army, and then fight with that. If you were to make all this delay in tech and then just not fight for 10 minutes, and you let your opponent fast tech, you would have the problem where... I don't think they can finish this. You would have the problem where you'll be out-teched. You could have like 5 grunts or 6 headhunters, and suddenly the opponent has triple hero, and you don't want to get to that situation. The trolling from the headhunter actually saw Maxecution cease to creep his natural expansion. He followed the Headhunter a bit, decided it wasn't worth it, but now with a very clever anti-meta gaming strategy of taking the Ogre Mage out here. The best thing about taking this is that Timbo is even none the wiser. So later he might be sending his Shadow or TC on an expedition to creep this and get level 2.1 on his second hero and then realize there's nothing. And the reason this is such a good steal is because after you realize there's nothing here for your second hero, you will look for the next closest camp. This one's also gone. Execution is taking everything away. And then this one is too hard for a level 1 hero generally. So it really breaks the momentum of second hero creeping, which is very important for Orc. So I think Execution has a very nice creep route here. He is now running into a considerably larger army than his own, using coils to save ghouls, when ideally he should be trying to do this mostly with just skeletons and coils, trying to get some unit kills. So far, Timbo gets the first kill, and he's also started with what I like to call a tier 1.5 expansion. He started this before his tech was finished, and he's continuing to make Headhunters, which is actually blocking his resource amount to make a second hero. So the second hero is even slower. We're at 6:13 game time. 6:13 game time. And you could have had a second hero for more than 2 minutes by now if you did a fast tech. In exchange though, he's got a very high level blade. If he gets one more hit, he can kill the DK. DK has to choose Invul or TP. He uses the Invul, he goes home. Double! He got the big right click from the Windwalk bonus damage and critical strike to kill that ghoul as well. That's 2 ghouls down. In favor of Timbo, of course. I don't think he's lost a single Headhunter yet. And his expansion is coming up. Second hero is going to be Shadowhunter. This is usually the choice with a Blade Master opener. Blade Master is a frontliner, so if he has no healer, he may not have as much damage output. Even though Tauren Chieftain technically enables his damage output more by giving him attack speed, the lack of healing means Blades cannot stay on the front line that long. Blade CC is one of my favorite hero combinations, but it very much is low defense, high offense. It's about burst, it's about damage, it's about power. I feel like there's a rap in there somewhere. Whereas Shadowhunter brings in some easy crowd control via the Hex, which allows you to get some hero kills sometimes, and also you can do the heal wave to save the Blade. So Blade falls back, sees this camp not here, which he should know because he took it himself. This camp isn't here, which he may have wanted. But by now, his army is so big that essentially he could creep anything, any camp on the map. So he doesn't even know that this camp was stolen, unless he's so good that he clicked Execution's item, or let's say not clicked it, he saw it. He became aware that Greater Invul was used when he was trying to kill the DK, and he would have intuited that it came from his own Ogre Mage. Either way, he should know now in theory, because he sees a second potion of middle length invulnerability, which can only be found, not purchased. And so he would know that both of the Ogre Mage are gone. If he clicked the hero, which is definitely not a skill everyone has mastered, of course. Execution saw the army from Orc. It is a large army, but it is a dumb army in the sense that it has very little lockdown. The lockdown is entirely down to Hex. There's no Lightning Orb, no Ensnare. But of course Hex will be used. He's gonna Hex a Fiend. I like this strategy of immediately harassing the Shadow. The Shadow is the only thing that has control in this fight via the Hex. As one Fiend goes down and he continues creeping like Undead doesn't even exist. Am I a joke to you? The Shadowhunter by Timbo did a good job. He hexed the Death Knight in order to make sure that the Death Knight loses movement speed and cannot coil at that moment. In doing so, he saved himself. For the next coil would have been lethal. The first unit kills are starting to happen for Execution. He's able to kill 2 Headhunters, but he's now down in total, as I remember, 2 Fiends and 2 Ghouls. And to make matters worse, he's fighting this without his Lich present. His Lich is just now starting. Lich is a great fighting hero for Undead. It helps to reduce enemy damage and to add extra damage to self. These traits are not good even in a 1 versus 1 based situation. But it'd be even worse if you realized that Timbo has an expansion. Now Warcraft 3 has 2 resources, gold and wood. Gold, Timbo is starting to get limitless amounts. But wood, he's a little low on it. He even went tier 3. He's got double barracks. He doesn't really have enough wood right now to do everything he wants to do. His headhunters are not upgraded to berserker training. And so while the trades generally started off really, really well, Execution is starting to fight back a bit. Every coil a kill. He's got Orb of Corruption on his Death Knight. His heroes are starting to be pretty high level, especially his Dark Ranger, who is packing loads of bonus damage. And Lich is out. Lich is finished. Execution continuing to pump out units, fiends and statues. And he's got a lot of lumber. He could bring these ghouls and do a Hail Mary attack. Oh, nice body blocks with the Raider. Trying to keep the DK from leaving. Very timely invulnerability by the Death Knight. He can now hit with impunity. He should be using this DK to hit. He's got a long period of invulnerability. He's got Coil to save Dark Ranger in 2 mana. Trying to keep his DK away from the shadow. I think he should be fine. If Lich Frost Armors the DK, it's going to be fine. So if I were to use my X-ray vision, my map hack vision, and I were Execution, I would sell TP, buy pots, rod, skull, and all in.
Welcome to the Grubsters.
Because he's running out of time.
58 months.
Thank you for the sub, Quanis. He's running out of time. He's up against a lot of money in Timbo's bank. So much gold currently, and he's not aware of it yet, Execution. This kind of strange tactic of Blade, Shadow into Headhunters and then a tier 1.5 expansion somehow caught Execution off guard. He's trying to get to his 50 pop. Meanwhile, Timbo is booming. Finally getting enough lumber for his Berserker upgrade. He trained an additional 3-4 peons at home. None here. Execution looking to invest in the power of his army. DK gonna get level 4. Let's see if he goes for Unholy Aura, which gives general goodness, movement speed, healing and whatnot. Or if he picks up the Death Pact, which could save his DK and may feel like a good idea right now. But he really doesn't have the amount of units to justify Death Pact killing units, even to save his DK. So I like the Unholy Aura choice. A chance here for a Captain of Gondor to show his body blocking quality. TC focus, there's the stomp. Fiend has to block the TC. And he just went to go for the easier Headhunter kill. Now launching an attack on the expansion. We have a probably 16 population advantage. With a statue coming in a compromised position. It could be ensnared. No, the Raider's getting blocked. Statue moves to safety. But the orb procs on the first hit. It's a 15% chance. Lady Fortune smiles on Timbo. We have focus fire on the Berserkers here. There's Fiend focus fire by Timbo. Kodo dodged 2-3 times the Devourer, but eventually the Fiend got eaten. And Execution's Lich is now under attack. If a Lightning Orb procs... Oh, nice Hex timing on the Death Knight. Lich unable to stay alive in that moment. That's usually why you put Invul on the Lich, by the way, not on the DK. Otherwise the Hex DK maneuver is going to be too effective. Great defense by Timbo. He made a strong army, and I think, you know, for their MMR 15-1600, I think playing like how Timbo's playing is correct. You can try to copy the pros all you want, but doing things that easily get you ahead against an imperfect opponent are very ideal at low level. Average level, sorry. Average low level are very effective. So just trying to put up an expansion and making lots of units. Brute force units, you know, double barracks. Nothing fancy like Spirit Lords or totem-based strats. Just lots of units. Double racks, Bestiary. The most basic staple unit of all, the Berserker. Playing like that, with your tech being too late, with too much unit count, with too much creeping on your main hero, whatever. All those things that you might get as a conclusion as a higher level player. Doing those things, I think it's correct. And it works out. It works out really, really well.
Welcome to the Grubsters.
If you were to apply the same thing,
1 month strong.
Thanks, Jarxus. if you were to apply the same thing to Undead, if I were a low-level Undead player, I would go for a Crypt Lord expansion every game. Either Crypt Lord Expo, Lich Expo, DK Expo, or Dreadlord Expo. It doesn't really matter. All of them are actually valid because they're all empowered by an early Nerubian. I think that's how you win low-level games. Not by trying to emulate Happy and going fast tier 3, because that comes with the requirement of needing to have very good scouting awareness, response awareness, you know, programmer stuff. If then, and then 100 different permutations. You need to know how much gold is missing from what your opponent is showing. So by checking their tech speed and by checking their unit count, you need to have a mental image of there's 400 gold unaccounted for. Therefore, they are expanding. You know, I see Blade, 6 Headhunters and a Grunt, but no second hero yet. That's a lot of tier 1. He's clearly not fast teching, because where's the Raider? I don't see a second hero, so no fast tech. So where's the rest of the money? I have a mental map. But how can you have that kind of awareness as a little cute nublet? You can't. So instead, you brute force stuff yourself as well by fast expanding and then making lots of units. Mass ghouls, mass fiends, it doesn't really matter. I'd say fiends, necros, and statues could be really fine. Or fiends, banshees, and statues. Now we're gonna get one of the most impossible fights ever for Maxecution. Even with Max Execution, it's gonna be tough. He's focusing the Headhunters that have turned on their Berserker. This is the right thing to do. Some nice Novas as well. It's a lot of nice kills. Nice coil there on the Fiend as well. But now his Dark Ranger's left without safety. Coil cooldown not available, and the critical strike at the right time. Timbo with the huge critical strike. Probably netting him $30 of prize money. For all I know, the first prize money is earned in Warcraft 3. And that's going to be a GG. Maxecution calls GG after his last valiant attack. Timbo takes the W here in the first show match of, how are we calling this? The Grub League. Timothy, I didn't tell you in advance, but thank you for playing in the show match. There was actually prize money on the show match as well. $30. I wanted you guys not to know about it before you played. So you just won your first esports dollars. You're now a pro gamer in making. Congratulations, Timothy. Thanks for playing. Maybe see you next time. See if someone can take you on. and 3 months of gift sub from Habibos.
Habibase gifted Timothy 7 a sub. Cheers. Habibase gifted 3 months of tier 1 to Timothy 7.
There we go.
Gifted 3 months in the channel.
There we go. Cool stuff. Congrats. Alright. Until next time.
Service just resubbed for 2 months.
Until next time in the Grub League show match series. See you next time. Sub to the Grub.